Have you ever seen such a considerate robber? The hostage he took wanted to go to the bathroom. The robber told him to relieve himself in a flower pot nearby. Noticing the man was too nervous to urinate, the robber even thoughtfully reminded his accomplice not to keep staring at him. However, a few minutes later, the man raised his hand again. This time, the robber did not hesitate and called him over at once. Facing the gun in the robber's hand, the man trembled with fear. He could hardly imagine what would happen next, but unexpectedly, the robber opened the bank's door and set him free directly. The sheriff stepped forward to ask about the situation inside, but the man was too scared to speak, so frightened that he wet his pants. This series of strange actions by the robber also left the sheriff thoroughly confused. A cell phone suddenly rang. The robber asked whose phone it was. Finding out that it was the elderly grandma's birthday that day, the robber suddenly became kind and amiable, so they hastily prepared a cake for her. The sniper reported the situation to the police officer and asked the other hostages to sing a birthday song for the grandma together. Later, they also carefully prepared a birthday gift for the grandma, and that was to give her back her freedom. The robber patiently helped the grandma walk out the door. Watching this puzzling scene, the sheriff always thought there was something fishy about the incident. Then the robber made a call, making demands to divert the police's attention. While stalling for time, his accomplices upstairs were quickly moving the money. Later, the money and valuables slid down the tunnel and into the sewer with ease. They had a clear division of labor, with each person in charge of a key link. Just then, their timer suddenly went off. It was time for their planned retreat. To leave no trace of their escape, they carefully cleaned up the traces at the tunnel entrance. Surprisingly, in this thrilling heist, he did not show the slightest sign of panic or chaos. Instead, he left the guns at the scene in an orderly manner. Even more audaciously, they also left a note. But his purpose in doing this was not to leave a clue, but to cleverly send a message. They had only used toy guns during the robbery. Even if one is arrested and convicted in the future, it can still reduce the severity of the crime to some extent. After finishing this series of actions, they calmly climbed into the tunnel. When the police stormed into the bank, there were no clues left at the scene except for the hostages. However, the experienced sheriff noticed something amiss from the wall dust left on the ground.